Plant tissues. Plants are made up of a number of tissues that work together. Vascular tissue conducts food and water from one part of the plant to other parts. The tissues responsible for growth are located at the tips of the root and stem. Depending upon the dividing capacity of the cells, plant tissues can be classified as meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Students, first let us have a look at the meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue is the only plant tissue that produces new cells by cell division. These cells are thin-walled with conspicuous nucleus and divide rapidly. Depending upon the region where they are situated, meristematic tissues are classified as apical meristems and lateral meristems and intercalary meristem. Apical meristem is located at the growing tips of stems and roots. It enables the root or stem to grow in length. Lateral meristem is also called cambium. The girth and width of the stem or the root increases due to lateral meristems. Intercalary meristems are present at the base of the leaves, at the nodal region of the twigs. The cells of this tissue have dense cytoplasm, thin cellulose walls, and prominent nuclei. These cells are very active. Permanent tissues. The cells formed by the division of the meristematic tissue take up a specific role and lose the ability to divide. As a result, they form a permanent tissue. This process of taking up permanent shape, size, and a function is called differentiation. Cells of meristematic tissue differentiate to form different types of permanent tissue. Permanent tissues are simple permanent tissues or complex permanent tissues. Students, let us learn more about the simple permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues. It is made up of one type of cells. Depending upon the functions it performs, the tissue is classified as follows. 1. Parenchyma. Its cells form basic packing tissue. The cells are living, possess nucleus, are thin-walled and unspecialized. They are loosely packed and therefore form intercellular spaces. This tissue stores food as in potato, beetroot, etc. 2. Chlorenchyma. The parenchyma in the leaf contains chloroplasts, hence the tissue is called Chlorenchyma. It performs the function of photosynthesis. 3. Aerenchyma. In aquatic plants, the intercellular spaces form large air cavities. They give buoyancy to the plant and help them float in water. Such parenchyma is called aerenchyma. 4. Chlorenchyma. The cells of this tissue are living, elongated, and irregularly thickened at the corners with cellulose. This tissue is located in the leaf stalks below the epidermis. It gives flexibility and allows easy bending in various parts of plants like leaves, stem, and twigs. It also provides mechanical support to young plants. 5. Sclerenchyma. The cells of this tissue are dead. They are elongated and narrow. The cell walls are thickened due to the deposition of lignin. It acts as cement and hardens the walls. The walls are so thick that the cells have reduced lumen. This tissue is located in the stems around vascular bundles, in the veins of the leaves, and in the hard covering of seeds and nuts. Due to the specific structure, the tissue makes the plant hard and stiff. It provides strength to the parts of the plant, for example, husk of the coconut. 6. Surface tissue. The entire surface of the plant consists of a single layer of cells called epidermis or surface tissue. The entire surface of the plant has this outer layer of epidermis. Hence, it is also called surface tissue. Most of the epidermal cells are relatively flat. The outer and lateral walls of the cell are often thicker than the inner walls. The cell forms a continuous sheet without intercellular spaces. It protects all parts of the plant. In some plants growing in very dry habitats, as in cactus, the epidermis may be thicker since protection against water loss is critical. Epidermal cells on the aerial part of the plant often secrete a waxy, water-resistant layer on their outer surface. This layer helps in protection against loss of water, mechanical injury, and invasion of parasitic fungi. In order to exchange gases with the atmosphere, epidermis has minute openings called stomata. Stomata are enclosed by two epidermal kidney-shaped cells called guard cells. They control the opening and closing of the stomata. Transpiration or loss of water in the form of water vapor also takes place through stomata. As woody plants grow older, the outer protective surface tissue undergoes certain changes. This forms the several layer thick cork or the bark of the tree. Cells of cork are dead and are compactly arranged without intercellular spaces. They also have a chemical called suberin on their walls that makes them impermeable to gases and water. Students, with this we have seen the details of simple permanent tissues. Now, let's see the complex permanent tissues. Complex permanent tissues. Complex tissues are made up of more than one type of cells. The cells are in coordination with one another. Vascular or conductive tissue is a complex tissue present in plants. It is present in stem, roots, and leaves. It conducts water and food material. The vascular tissue or the vascular systems of the root, stem, and leaf are connected to each other. Vascular or conductive tissue is a distinctive feature of the complex plants. In the cross-section of a stem, we can see different types of cells in the vascular tissue. Xylem and phloem are examples of vascular tissue. They both are conductive tissues. Students, now let us learn more about xylem. Xylem. Its cells have thick walls and many of them are dead. They are mainly of the following types. A. Tracheids. These are long, narrow cells with walls that are impermeable to water. When tracheids mature, they die and their cytoplasm disintegrates. This leaves a network of hollow connected cells through which water can pass. B. Xylem vessels. These are tubular structures and are much wider than tracheids. They are arranged end to end and on top of one another like a pipeline. The cell walls at both the ends degenerate when the cells die. As a result, stacked vessels become continuous tubes. This allows free flow of water and minerals in vertical direction. C. Xylem parenchyma. These cells store food. D. Xylem fibres mainly support the plant. Phloem. Students, with this we have come to the last part of this chapter. Phloem is made of 4 types of cells. A. Sieve tubes. They are tubular cells with perforated walls and arranged end to end. The end walls of the sieve tubes have perforated walls. Material can move through perforated walls from one adjacent cell to another. As the sieve tubes mature, they lose the nuclei and most of the other organelles in cytoplasm. The remaining cell organelles stick to the inside of the cell wall. The rest of the cytoplasm can move from cell to carry substances. B. Companion cells are phloem cells that surround sieve tube elements. Companion cells are living and keep their nuclei and other organelles throughout their lifetime. Companion cells are believed to control the activity of sieve tube elements. C. Phloem fibres are elongated tapering cells which are found particularly in the stems. The cell walls are thickened. It gives mechanical strength to the plant. Phloem fibres are dead cells. D. Phloem parenchyma cells are alive and filled with cytoplasm. The cell walls are thin. These cells form the packing tissue between all the other types of cells. Phloem parenchyma stores compounds such as starch. Phloem transports food, that is sugars and amino acids, from leaves to other non-green parts of the plants such as growing stems and roots.